Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily story with a chapter from one of my novellas. Before I start today's chapter, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this book and any of my other fiction, then they're all available from all major ebook retailers. You can order the paperback and hardback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore and local library if you requested. Also, if you want the AI generated audiobook, then you can get it from selected audiobook platforms and library systems like Kobo, Spotify, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Baker & Taylor, Biblioteca and Overdrive. Now, here's today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did writing it.
Chapter 2. The 23rd of June 2023. Canterbury, England. Detective Graham Adams had been shocked as hell when he first received his jury summons, because every cop knew they could never ever serve on a jury because it was a clear conflict of interest. Cops were more likely to find innocent people guilty, and cops were just bad jurors. But both the Judge, Defense and Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, said it was a mistake, but they were happy to have him on the jury if he was. And as much as Graham never wanted to admit it, he had always wanted to serve on a murder trial jury. It always sounded like so much fun. Granted, after having to listen to the defense and CPS argue for days, present their cases, and Graham had to listen to little people on the jury, he was so done with this case, but he couldn't deny that something was seriously wrong. Graham sat at the very head of a large brown wooden table, where the other members of the jury were around. He wasn't foreman, but he felt like he was respected. Graham wasn't a fan of the old wooden room they were sitting in. The walls were far too brown and polished for his liking, the large chandelier overhead was too dramatic, and he wasn't exactly a fan of there being no windows about. From everyone's aftershaves and perfumes mixing together, the air smelt strange, with hints of oranges, earthy tones and peppermint, constantly battling to become the smell of choice in the air. It was a little overwhelming for Graham, but he had to focus. No matter how much the hints made the taste of damp spring hiking through forests form on his tongue. He was wearing a black three-piece suit, because Betty had said he never wore the present she had given him last Christmas, and there was a reason for that. It was way too expensive for his taste, but he knew if he wanted to convince these people of a man's innocence, he needed to look powerful. The other 11 members of the jury were 6 women, some old and some young, and 5 other men equally as young and old as the women. Some were from the north, others from the south of England, and 1 man and 1 woman on the jury were originally from India. But to Graham's surprise, they were the most adamant they wanted the innocent refugee locked up forever. The case was simple enough. Graham had listened to the case for days, and the CPS were accusing an Amir Javed, a refugee from Afghanistan in 2010, and now a proud business owner running homeless shelters, food banks and tons of other charities all over the UK, of 10 counts of murder when he broke into people's hotel rooms at the hotel he was staying at. No one saw him commit the crime. There was no forensic evidence at the scene, but the murder weapon was in his room, and there was blood on his hands that matched the 2 of the victims. And because Amir was accused of killing 3 high-level people in the USA's State Department, the UK government had tried to extradite the prisoner to the USA for the death penalty. Graham just couldn't believe that Amir was a killer. It just didn't seem right, and the case really felt wrong. "We are the 12, and now we have to decide that this man is guilty," the jury foreman said by the name of Callum Smith. Everyone focused on Callum, and Graham had never really liked him. As soon as he had found out the defendant was a refugee, Graham was sure Callum had already decided on the guilty verdict. Callum wore a good-looking blue suit over his middle-aged body, and Graham was guessing he worked as a banker or something up in London. "Definitely," an elderly woman in an ugly pink dress said. "Let's send this killer to prison and be done with this." "Wait," Graham said. "It is our duty to society and the criminal justice system that we actually deliberate this. We are about to send a man to prison if we decide to find him guilty, and we need to focus on, is this man guilty beyond reasonable doubt? Callum laughed. You're a cop. You must know this man is guilty. That is the point of jury deliberation, Graham said. And I do not believe the prosecution has represented a case that meets the burden of proof. Everyone laughed. How? Callum asked. The refugee is a terrorist that illegally came to this country on a little stupid boat. He claimed he was at risk of murder in his terrorist nation. He took advantage of his weak government, and now he has killed people. Graham shook his head. That is your opinion, and this jury is meant to focus on facts. I agree, and Afghanistan is not a terrorist nation, a young woman said called Ruby. Thank you, Graham said, grateful to have one ally here. Fine, Callum said. Let's do a vote now, and see how many people refuse to accept the simple fact that this dirty man is a murderer. Graham so badly wanted this to explode in Callum's face, but he knew it wouldn't. Put up your hands if you think he is guilty, Callum said. Every single person on the jury raised their hand except Graham, so he went as far as to sit on his hands. He wasn't sure what had happened in these murders, but that was what he wanted to talk about. And Graham couldn't deny just how excited he was at the idea of having to convince 11 people that he was right and this man was innocent. An impossible feat at best. And he really, really wanted to give Betty as much time as possible to investigate and hopefully find the real killer. Otherwise, an innocent person would be sent to prison for the rest of his life. And if the extradition order was granted, then an innocent man would be sent to the US and given the death penalty. Graham wasn't having that if he could help it.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.